YouTube! Today we're reacting to Asia's Tornado Alley. This here is by Vortex Domain. I will have a link to this video and his channel in the description below if you'd like to check them out and not look at my face, which I totally understand. With that said, let's check it out. Asia's Tornado Alley.
In 1989, the deadliest tornado that ever happened touched down. It killed 1,300 people and injured 12,000. Where could this have possibly happened? Kansas? No. Texas? No. Well, then it's gotta be Oklahoma then. Nope. You see, it actually took place in Bangladesh. Since the US has a lot of famous and powerful tornadoes, it can be easy to forget that tornadoes happen all around the world. Just like how the
Amen,
US has
brother.
its own tornado alley, so does pretty much every other continent out there.
Yo, Bangladesh, man. Once again, they hold like 6 of the top 10 spots in the deadliest tornadoes of all time, which shocked me when I first learned that. I had no idea they got tornadoes over there. But now we know. The more you know, you know?
Except Antarctica. It's never had one. So today,
We all need to move to Antarctica. It's going to be a little cold at first. With enough heaters, we can figure this out.
we're going to be talking about Asia's tornado alleys and its most notable tornadoes. Let's get into it. When you think of natural disasters that take place in Japan, you probably think about earthquakes, since Japan is perfectly situated around the Ring of Fire.
Wait, Fukushima? Remember that tsunami after the big earthquake? Woo! Tough time, man. Tough time.
And you might think of the tsunamis that can sometimes be a byproduct of those earthquakes. Maybe even volcanoes as well, but tornadoes are actually pretty frequent in Japan. The Japanese tornado alley spans almost all of the country, and is decently active when it comes to tornadoes. There are around 20 to 25 tornadoes recorded in Japan each year, with 15% of them being waterspouts. Even though most of the tornadoes that take place in this country never result in deaths, there are some exceptions. On November 7th, 2006, a tornado touched down in the town of Samura on the Japanese island of Hokkaido. This tornado resulted in 9 deaths, most of them being workers who were in the process of constructing a tunnel. Cars were flipped over, many homes lost electricity, and several buildings collapsed too. Going back about 125 years to September 26, 1881, a tornado touched down in the Miyazaki Prefecture, which struck Miyazaki Elementary School along its path. This resulted in 16 fatalities, making it the deadliest recorded tornado in all of Japanese history. Over 100 years later, on December 11th, 1990, a strong tornado touched down in the town of Mobara. It was initially rated as an F3, but had its status elevated to F4. It damaged 1,000 homes and obliterated 82.
You know, I was just fixing to ask, like, did they get, like, strong tornadoes? And I was, fixing to say, like, EF3 to EF5. My question was answered, though.
One home was even lofted from its foundation. To date, this is the most powerful tornado to ever occur in Japan. Another key detail to mention about Japan is that typhoons make landfall from time to time, and they are capable of producing several tornadoes. Even though tornadoes generated from tropical cyclones are not very strong and are often short-lived, they can still inflict considerable damage. In 1979, Typhoon Tip struck the Japanese mainland and spawned 11 different tornadoes.
Wow.
But
I always heard, like, even, like, with hurricanes and stuff like that, tropical storms, that oftentimes, that came with tornadoes. Just random tornadoes would spiral up.
by the way, it was the largest tropical cyclone ever recorded. Just thought I'd let you know. All in all, while not nearly as active as Tornado Alley in the US, Japan has seen its fair share of tornadoes. This area between northeast India and Bangladesh
Here we go with Bangladesh, dude. Whew, that poor place.
tends to be an active hotspot for tornadoes, and they can occur with similar strength as those from the US. On April 8th, 1838, a tornado touched down in Calcutta, India, and resulted in 215 fatalities. This was the first documented tornado in India, and would go on to be one of many to cause serious damage and fatalities to this overall region. Another tornado in Odisha, India in March 1998 caused 160 fatalities and around 2,000 injuries. Additionally, in May 2021, a tornado occurred
Yo, it's music low key kind of good. I was over here kind of dancing, man.
in the state of West Bengal, which led to 80 damaged houses and 2 people being electrocuted, which resulted in their deaths. This tornado formed as a result of Cyclone Yas, which would later make landfall around 16 hours later. Most recently, a tornado hit West Bengal again this year in the Jalpaiguri district on March 31st, 2024, and obliterated an entire village, leading to 4 deaths and 100 injuries.
R.I.P.
When it comes to the Bangladesh area of this alley, there have been several tornadoes that have resulted in huge losses of life. In April 1969, a series of tornadoes in the suburbs of Dhaka, Bangladesh's capital city, led to 923 fatalities. The tornado lacerated the bodies of its victims and even threw a boy 1,300 feet away into a pond. Like I mentioned earlier in the
R.I.P. That's sad, dude. Holy. You know, it's kind of weird because does anybody has anyone ever been to Bangladesh, or is anyone from Bangladesh in here that watches my reaction to tornado stuff? Like, dude, that place absolutely gets hammered. Do they get like much support from like surrounding governments and stuff as far as like warnings and, you know, maybe a little financial help to get them back on their feet after all these tornadoes?
In this video, a key detail that makes Bangladesh stand out is that the deadliest tornado of all time took place here in 1989. By the way, I already made a separate video on this tornado, so I'll put it at the end of this video if you're interested in learning about this crazy event. It's known as the Daulatpur Saturia tornado.
I would have butchered that name. This right here is why I don't make some, like, you know, my own tornado documentaries. I'm easily sidetracked. I lose interest in things like super quick. And it's my inner hillbilly comes out, man. We butcher names. It happens.
But to sum up the stats, like I said earlier, 1,300 deaths, 12,000 injuries. Pretty devastating. 7 years later.
Well, also, like, anybody familiar with Bangladesh, like, how are the buildings over there? Like, are they decently built, or are we talking like some lower end stuff? Because that's a lot of deaths. Because if, like, you know, usually if it's like lower end stuff, you know, the homes get destroyed super quick, but then those homes are essentially just turned into debris. You know, just projectiles, which, you know, obviously going to cause even more damage and cause more injuries.
In 1996, another devastating tornado hit Bangladesh. It caused less deaths than the Daulatpur Saturia tornado, having only 600 fatalities.
Only. Boys, just in 2 tornadoes here. 1,900. 1,900 fatalities.
But there's one major statistic that makes this tornado stand out from the others, and that's the injuries. Over 37,000 injuries.
37,000. Just looking at the debris here, it looks like this hit maybe a poor spot of the area. Or, I mean, heck, this could have been an EF5. You know, EF5s, they make well-built homes just look like shrapnel anyways. But 37,000 injuries. It's poor people, dude.
37,000. 37,000. To put that into perspective, the deadliest tornado in U.S. history, the Tri-State Tornado, caused only 2,000 injuries, meaning this tornado in Bangladesh caused about 18 times more injuries than the deadliest U.S. tornado, a country known for its frequent occurrence of deadly tornadoes. Also, I did a video on the tri-state tornado, so feel free to check it out at the end of this video. Back to the 1996 tornado, it was on the ground for 20 minutes and damaged several mud brick homes and villages. The tornado caused injuries that led to several deaths due to the unsanitary conditions. When the New York Times reported this event, they said that tree branches transformed into missiles by the 125-mile-per-hour winds. This, along with poor infrastructure and a high population density, is the leading cause of the immense amount of injuries from this tornado.
All right, that makes sense. You know, you got not so well constructed homes. Like, even, once again, man, boys, you don't need a super strong tornado to cause a big problem. You know, you take like a mobile home park back, you know, here in the U.S., you know, you could have like a EF2 come through and we all know what's going to happen. It sounds about what's happening here. You have poorly constructed homes, densely compacted. Even a weaker tornado going through is just going to, you know, just, it's sad, dude. Those poor people, man.
Luckily, civilians received help from the International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies and the Bangladesh Red Crescent Societies. The most significant recent tornado to occur in Bangladesh was the 2013 Brahmanbaria tornado. An F2 tornado leading to 38 deaths and 431 injuries.
My lord,
what killed a lot of people in this significant weather event was that the tornado picked up and threw people long distances. This includes a mother and her baby who were tossed 250 yards from their home. The baby was given treatment at the Dhaka Medical College and Hospital while the mother passed away in the incident. The tornado scoured farm fields and destroyed various crops. 1,778 homes were destroyed as well. Above all, the India-Bangladesh Tornado Alley has had some of the deadliest and destructive tornadoes humanity has ever seen. Moving along, the East Coast...
Wait, does Nepal get a lot of tornadoes? Ain't that where you hike through to climb Mount Everest and everything? Because like you're kind of at a weird spot. Like you have Nepal, China, Pakistan. Like when you're up there, like, you know, one side you fall to one country, the other side you fall to the other country. It's weird. Number one, I'd never even try to climb Mount Everest. At best, and I mean at best, I would go to Everest Base Camp. And I would still be paranoid because, remember the avalanche? Like, I would maybe go to Everest Base Camp, hang out for a little bit, and then I'm out.
Most of China also has quite a long history with tornadoes as well. Typically, it's hit with tornadoes in the spring and summer. And, without a doubt, China has definitely had its fair share of strong tornadoes. In 1956, a tornado touched down in Shanghai, China, toppled over a 60-ton crane, launched a 10-ton oil tank 390 feet away, and hit Shanghai Polytechnic University, where it injured 150 people and killed 37.
R.I.P.
It demolished many buildings of the university, the most significant one being a 4-story building that the tornado allegedly cut in half. Over a decade later, on August 29, 1969, 2 tornadoes touched down in the city of Tianjin. The first tornado, well, dissipated relatively quickly and only caused minor damage. However, the second tornado obliterated the Chuhegong village and made its way to central Tianjin. It uprooted several trees, damaged concrete factories, and destroyed the auditorium of the Tianjin University School of Finance and Economics. All in all, this tornado resulted in 146 deaths and 1,610 injuries. Another significant outbreak occurred in China in 1977, and one of the tornadoes from this outbreak, which touched down in Huanggang, picked up fuel tanks weighing around 5,500 pounds and launched them things 200 yards away, similar to the Tianjin tornado.
Dude, that's stout. How are we over there in China, boys?
This twister struck a high school auditorium and led to the deaths of of a dozen students.
R.I.P.
This tornado resulted in 103 total deaths, making it the second deadliest tornado in Chinese history, second to the Tianjin tornado discussed earlier. In more recent history, a tornado struck Yancheng in the Jiangsu province of China. And this was an EF4 tornado that occurred on June 23rd, 2016. And this EF4 tornado was caused by strong thunderstorms moving along a Mayu front. And to throw some sciencey terms in there, a Mayu front is a weak baroclinic zone in the lower troposphere. Anyways, many well-built homes were leveled, 2 large schools were damaged, and heavy shipping containers were lofted into the air and thrown hundreds of feet away. First responders claimed that bodies littered all of the sites of debris. The event was declared by the country as a national level disaster, and rescue teams from Beijing were deployed and provided thousands of tents and beds to those affected by this tornado. The most recent significant tornado to strike China took place in an area of China you might already be familiar with: Wuhan. The tornado struck at night.
Oh God.
And those nighttime tornadoes are no joke. It struck at night on May 14th, 2021, killed 8 people, injured 230, snapped
I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna say
power
it.
poles, and toppled over construction cranes. Over the years, China has shown that it is no stranger to powerful and violent tornadoes.
Indonesia.
It's not just the Asian mainland that receives the brutal impact from all these tornadoes. The islands of Southeast Asia are just as vulnerable, specifically Indonesia. In 2017, a tornado touched down in the island of Java, which is basically the tornado alley of Indonesia that I just showed you. By the way, side note, there are more people in the island of Java than all of Russia. Like, that's not a joke. Seriously though, you got...
Why is there so many people there? Yo, this place has to be popping, right?
Java, like small little country, and then Russia, biggest country on Earth, but more people in that tiny island than Russia. I know Russia is super cold, but what? Anyways, a tornado touched down in Java and ripped off roofs and exterior walls of many homes. Even though this part of Indonesia is so densely populated, there was only 35 injuries and 0 deaths. Let's go.
That's what we like to hear. That's what we like to hear. How? Like there has to be 0 privacy in this country. Like there's no shot.
And then in May 2020, a QLCS tornado spawned in the southern portion of the Sumatra island. A QLCS tornado, which stands for
Quasi-linear convective system tornado,
is a tornado that forms as a result of a squall line, which is a line of storms that form along a cold front, and that's what happened in the southern portion of the Sumatra island. So that tornado happened. 66 homes were badly damaged, 2 people were killed, and 6 were injured as the tornado moved through the area. There's a couple other tornadoes I could have mentioned, but overall, Indonesia doesn't get that many tornadoes. It's more of a rarity in this country. So that's a plus.
Not the Philippines, dude.
Likewise, the Philippines is also subject to tornadoes because of its similar geographic region to Indonesia. The deadliest tornado to hit the Philippines so far was the Dipolog tornado on June 14, 1990. The tornado formed in the Sulu Sea and eventually came ashore and destroyed homes made from coconut leaves. It also carried numerous people and animals out to sea, ultimately leading to 30 fatalities.
R.I.P.
Another very notable tornado was one that struck Manila, the capital city of the Philippines with a population of 12.8 million, on August 14th, 2016. Several houses received damage, and the glass door of a convenience center was completely shattered. This was only the second tornado in history to hit Manila. Luckily, there were only 2 injuries and 0 deaths, despite having impacted such a populated area. There's a couple other tornadoes that occurred in the Philippines that I could have mentioned in this video, but overall, most of them are weak, barely cause any injuries, and usually don't result in any deaths.
Good.
Now let's move on to the final Asian tornado alley I'm going to be discussing in this video.
The Vietnam.
The last tornado alley that we'll be discussing in Asia is Vietnam. There hasn't been as many injuries and fatalities in this region as the other countries mentioned in this video, but it has proven to be a tornado hotspot in the vast continent of Asia. On June 23, 2011, Typhoon Haima was closing in on the coast of Vietnam, leading to the production of numerous supercells. One of these supercells spawned a tornado that touched down at 5:30 p.m. that day, resulting in 2 deaths, over 80 injuries, and 1,000 houses losing their roof. From March 3rd to March 4th of 2020, a tornado outbreak from a series of severe thunderstorms took place that led to 2 deaths in Lao Cai, 1 death in northeast Vietnam, and another 2 deaths in Ha Giang. Large amounts of hail fell and resulted in significant damage. Many vehicles and public buildings were damaged as well. Most recently, a waterspout formed off the coast of the Vinh Long province on June 29, 2023. Luckily, it only resulted in a few homes being damaged, with a grand total of 0 deaths and 0 injuries.
Oh, well,
Although
good.
they may destroy a couple houses and buildings, most of the tornadoes that occur in Vietnam have a very low casualty rate. Altogether, this continent, while not known so much for tornadoes in the weather sphere, not only sees a frequent amount of tornadoes, but ones that can be devastating to the masses. Hopefully you now understand that it's not just Texas, Oklahoma, and Kansas under fire from tornadoes, but countries across the world as well. I really appreciate you guys for watching, and let me know if you want to see another video of tornado alleys from a different part of the world. If you want to learn about the deadliest...
Ah, sweet. Hey, guys. That was a good video, man. I like this guy. Once again, his channel and this video is going to be in the description below if you want to check it out. Asia, dude. Poor Bangladesh, man. Poor Bangladesh. I wish there was something we could do. I wish there was something we could do for them. Texas, Oklahoma, all of Tornado Alley, Dixie Alley. You get the picture. But, I mean, you can't stop the tornado, right? You can't stop it. Sounds like they need to build them some underground bunkers. Just saying. I know that takes a lot of money. The government doesn't want to do it. It would be a good idea for these people, though. Build Bangladesh some underground shelters. Just, put a couple of them together. See what happens. You're going to obviously save some lives. Lord have mercy. Come on, man. Come on. And it's crazy, seeing places like Japan, the Philippines. I'm glad that some of these spots, don't get very strong or violent tornadoes. That's awesome. But man, just Bangladesh just sticks around in my head there. Yeah, poor place, man. It's wild. So many. I mean, I wouldn't. It doesn't appear that they're getting super strong tornadoes, but when you have poor construction and, very compact areas that's highly populated, it's a disaster waiting to happen, man. They gotta get us at least one. Let's see what happens with one. Come on. All right, guys. I am Cheap. Thank y'all for watching. If you enjoyed the video, like, subscribe, all that good jazz. We'll catch you in the next one.